You're not one person on doing everything on your back. So we use all these kind of things. We use pre-listing sales techniques. We use videos. I've actually got a table over there of some of the listing prompts that we use, and I'll share them with you. And we actually know what we're walking into before we go to a listing. So I'm going to show you the most important thing that I've taught my agents about listings. Is number one, what you focus on is going to expand. And I pretty much, at some point in time, I let almost everything else drop in this business. I mean, really, if I didn't have somebody hired to take care of a file, it would scream on my desk because I was more interested in going to get a listing than I wasn't going that out. Fortunately for my customers, my family found some adequate help to close out my files. But listings I can tell you about, I can talk to you from a lot of passion. The most important thing you do all these things when you're going to get a listing, but most important thing is the conversation that you have with the person before you get there, because you need to know what you're walking into. And then the very best thing that I can tell you about listing is that when you get there, and I've said this before, and I've had some precious agents say they had such a hard time with it, but this technique will actually solve your problems of whether you're working with an engineer, whatever kind of person that you're working with at the listing. This lock-on will absolutely help you overcome any personality conflict that you've got. If you're an I, it doesn't matter if you do this. And here's what you've got to do. When you hit the door, you've got to introduce yourself, you've got to be on time, and you got to say, hi, I'm Marti Hampton with Remax One Realty, and I'm here to see your home. Would you take a few minutes and show me through your home? And then after you speak those words, of course you look pleasant and you smile, you're not stoic. But after that, folks, you lock on. And when I say lock on, you lock on to that person. Your eye contact has to be strong, but it's more than your eye contact. It's your whole being has got to be involved in what is going on. Let me tell you why that's important. Because that husband and wife, and you're usually going to present to a husband and wife, that husband hasn't been listened to by his wife for years. He's so impressed that he's got somebody's full attention, you will gravitate there. In my game, I challenge you the next time you go to a listing appointment, I want you to do this. The first one to speak loses. Okay? So when you walk in the door, you ask them to show you through the home. Maybe you sit down, put my things down at the table, and would you take a few minutes and show me through your home, and please just tell me the things that you think are important. And then, of course, you take your notes and you're going through, and this is what you do. You look at them, you smile, you got a pleasant, but you don't stare down. You're pleasant to them, but you don't speak. And you go, if you do have to speak, it has to be a short question. You can't oogle over the pink bonus run paint. You cannot oogle over the picture on the wall. You have got to focus on what they're saying and what's behind what they're doing. And that comes into play in the phone call that you make before you go there, to know what you're walking into. And when you get there, lock on. Because it's showtime. And guess what? It's not about you. It's about them. It's about them. You notice most real estate agents talking about locked in. From the time they hit the door, they start talking, and they think they're going to sell by the much speaking. Let me tell you something. Sales is actually a listening skill. It's actually how well you listen. And I take that as the number one thing. If you don't get anything else from me, please get that. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what we use if I've got a few minutes. So it's a little controversial. Some of the things you may use, I hope you get something out of it, but I hope you do some of the things that we do. So I do tell them a little bit about our team, and basically, but I don't spend a lot of time on that at first. I'm going to go quickly, because basically I'm going to sell the concept of being a team. When you are a team, your team members, every team member has to understand how to sell the team. Because if you don't, what you have is team members who start on their own. And you have to sell the team. The team has to be the number one most important thing. So why a team? Well, there used to be a day that teams weren't as popular, but now with the way that you have to have everything on social media, the way that you have to have marketing, the way that you have to do so many things. It's good to have a team that's big enough to have a marketing department, to have a social networking department, all these things that I couldn't give you if I was a single agent. So that's why we do a team. But before we get together with this is after you've looked at the house, now you're sitting at the kitchen table, go back into the questions. Go back into questioning them before you start your presentation. Make them want you. Make them want to hear what you have to say. See, most agents start out the presentation telling them what they need to know the second they walk in the door. They have to be receptive to you. And the only way they're going to be receptive to you if you find out where they're coming from first. So what do you want from an agent is always a real good one. My favorite line in listings is, has an agent wronged you in another life? My favorite, let me say that again, somebody can give me maybe his accent. My favorite line in a listing is to say to the seller, has a real estate agent wronged you in another life? It's usually yes. It's a Robin Hood quote, by the way. What's the most important factor about selling your home? What are you most concerned about in selling your home? Do you have any showing restrictions? Is there any timing that's important to you? In other words, if it's January, if this house is not sold by September, is that going to be what are you going to do? What if this house doesn't sell at the price that you and I decide on today to put the house on the market for? So, have you had a home inspection? That usually stops them. Do you know what your home is worth? Have you had a recent appraisal? Have you had another agent tell you what your home is worth? Ask them everything before you go into a presentation. What we're going to go over today, we're going to tell you what you're going to get when your home is sold, and we're going to tell you what we do differently than other agents. Would you like that? We're going to do that. Today we're going to answer all your questions, but before we start, and before I give you our marketing plan, I want to tell you that the most important thing that I can do for you is preparing you. You know, all these quotes I've got on preparation, thorough preparation makes its own luck. Before anything else, preparation is the key to success. We pride ourselves that we prepare our listings for market better than any other opportunity out there. And you know, part of the problem, and see, this is where you have to I have different things that are happening in my market, so you'll have to adjust to the things that are happening to you. But the reason we spend so much time on marketing, Mr. Seller, is just a simple fact. Poor marketing is going to bring you fewer buyers. Fewer buyers are going to mean a lower price. You did want the highest price possible for your home. Is that correct? Okay, well, this actually came from data by Properties Online, Inc. You can look it up. My listing presentation is a very logical presentation. But if you're dealing with an emotional person, you basically overcome logic with emotion. In other words, if they're throwing logic to you, you start talking about those kids not meeting the other children in their new school district on time. You start throwing the emotion into it. If they're talking emotion to you, you overcome it with logic. But this is the real facts, folks. This actually ended in 2013. And of course, you can see that then they searched the term real estate. So those are some great things that tell you what the company that I work for has to offer. Now, add that to what I give you, and you would add that to what you give them on the internet. And from the day one, from the day that we start marketing your home, we begin building momentum for your home as a future listing on our exclusive Coming Soon website. And this is a website, by the way, that I created about 18 months ago. And I've been doing Coming Soon listings in my market for probably 10 years. And I can talk to you about the pros and cons of that, but I can tell you that a Coming Soon listing works in any market. You know, Judy quoted the phrase this morning that you would get, for every listing that you have to get 11 buyer calls. Have you noticed that in more of the seller's market that you've got, you get fewer and fewer? When the listing sells faster, you get fewer of the calls. So this actually helps you lengthen the amount of time and take more advantage of your hard-earned listing. So the listing we do is a Coming Soon website. It's actually now, we've got it in about 25 markets, but our website in Raleigh is comingverysoon.com. And advertise it all over the place. But basically, it's an onboarding process where we put homes that we're preparing for market. Listen, I view real estate kind of like retail. Any shoppers in here? Okay. If you go shopping right now, it's 80 degrees outside. Making some kind of rain. You go shopping right now, you know something to wear tonight. What are you going to see in the stores? Coats, boots. Are you going to wear coats and boots right now? No. Retail is always a season ahead. And I think you, as the seasoned real estate professional in your area, need to be the season ahead. Your 2017 has already started, guys. I'm working on houses. I'm working on houses to sell before the end of this year, but I'm also working on the spring market for 2017. Because I don't want to give my public what every other realtor in town can give my public. They can go on MLS, they can look at the houses that are there, but if they come to me, whether they're a buyer or whether they're a seller, they're going to find out what's happening down the road, just like retail. We say a season ahead. So we attract literally thousands of active buyers through our local 7 websites. We do that. We have our exclusive Coming Soon website where we have an onboarding process, and basically we dominate internet on online referrals. I hope that you are placing as much emphasis on your online referrals as you need to be. Because I'm telling you, 5 years from now, people are going to choose who they work with based on online referrals. Very, very important. So this is a snapshot of our Coming Soon website. Why should we be interested in that? Is basically, do you have Coming Soon signs in your market? Do you have little? Okay, this is not just a sign writer. This is a strategy. And the strategy is to build momentum, to basically build excitement from day one. And another thing that Judy taught me recently was to have an aggressive written marketing plan. The written marketing plan that we use has, during the Coming Soon period, of what we're going to be doing, including professional pictures, this, that, and the other. And it includes all the things that we do to get the market excited about this property. Because here's the thing I know about listings. Every single day that a listing is on the market is a liability to a seller. It starts getting old real quick. Let me ask you a question. If you have a great listing and you get an offer on it, I'm going to have to end early, you get an offer on it within the first 3 days, you've got a lot of power. You put your seller in a negotiating position of maximum power. And that's what we do, is we pack the most force, the most power right into the front of this listing so that our seller is in a great negotiation point. It also gives us time to prepare the home. We do a lot of pre-inspections, because the worst thing that I could ever do for a seller is to get that momentum going, to get people excited about their house. We have a period of time called the due diligence period in Carolina, where the buyer can walk away for virtually any reason or no reason at all. They can just decide they want a yellow house instead of a blue one. So it's really a point of great jeopardy for our seller. That taking that house off the market is really, really important. And here's the bad part. If the sale falls through, it follows the house forever. It follows it forever because you can look everything up online. So it's critical. It's critical what you do during that. And I'm not going to have time to go through the rest of this presentation. There's a lot to it. Hopefully someday I can come back and go over that to you. But basically, I want to tell you that I work very, very hard for sellers. I focus very, very specifically on giving my sellers a representation that they are totally unable to equal in any other form with any other agent. So then I talk to them at the very end, by the way, save pricing until the end. And then go back to what's the most important thing, because they're always impressed by the time I tell them the price. And signing and getting the marketing agreement. The marketing agreement is something I have them sign. I will not leave it with them because none of my competitors can possibly copy what all we do for our sellers. This is some of my local advertisement. I do it all for sellers. And I had to cut it short, but I love to be in with you because I do love real estate agents. Maybe 2 quick questions. does not have, I've worked with people who are building a home in Florida, for example. They thought the house was going to be ready in 4 months and turned it up 6 months. So basically, all the paperwork has to be done up front. There's no leeway on that. So it is a fully executed, signed listing contract, and we gauge it according to what I know about many facets of the market. But no, there's no time limit on it. Any other questions?
Members develop their own marketing as well, like their own sphere of influence. Does everything go out just on your name, or do they also have their own marketing strategy as well?
Well, I'd like to tell you that they do a lot of marketing, but they don't. You know, I keep them pretty busy. I actually looked at the number of leads that went to my team. I have 7 buyer's agents at this point in time. There's about 250 leads that we gave out. That's just to the buyer's agents, not to the listing agent. And like I said, we're very heavy on listings. So they may do a little social network, but if you've got, you have to save the integrity of the team. You've got to speak with your buyer's agents often about selling the team, because they'll forget, and they're human, and everybody's got an ego, and everybody wants to be the hero. But you've got to, it's true, but you've got to basically keep the integrity of the team, or you won't have a team. So I hope this helps a little bit. Ken, thank you for the opportunity.